Grand Rising, everybody. Natalie coming to live. Spirit and coffee. Got my coffee here. Salute to you. Good morning to you, Trey. Is it Trey? A Treyo. Just kidding. I don't know if you know who that is, but good morning. And goodbye to you as well. On and off. By the way, I have this yummy creamer that I just bought. It's the silk, but it's the almond milk one, and it's the caramel. So bomb. Love it for my coffee. Okay, so let's get started. A lot to talk about, and in fact, almost on a rampage about certain things. So as we do the work as a practitioner of the work and spiritual alchemy, again, it's not about this woo-woo sort of spiritual, I'm going to these other dimensional time spaces. I mean, we can, but the reality is how are you applying that work here in your life? How do you then begin to take what is woo-woo or what we might call imaginal or what we might call intuitive, the internal sort of creativity in the mind, and then sort of bring it out into the world. And lately what's been happening, especially with me, and I think with the world, and what we're seeing is the sacred feminine shadow side is on a rampage. And I feel it internally. And so what does that mean? Because we have these goddesses that show up, and goddesses, and there's a bunch of goddesses, and a lot of them have not been maybe recognized or have been sort of smothered, chained up, shut up, put down, maybe put in the corner. Women, again, historically, who were practicing sacred sisterhood. That's what I call it, sacred sisterhood, where they would get in circles and bleed together and do all these things. Eventually were hung, killed, and destroyed for actually engaging in these things. And so the goddess energy has really been stifled. It's been suffocated. It's been chained up, and she's not happy anymore. And so now what we're seeing is this sacred feminine, right? Just sort of ready to be unleashed. She's really, and she's coming up in energetically through individual people. So people, if they're in tune with what is going on in the world, if they're in tune with what is going on with them internally, who they are as an individual, they'll know that internal goddess is sort of gnawing at them or tugging at them and saying, listen to what I'm telling you, and really looking for the voice, or for women or even men to rise and speak on her behalf, basically. So it's not a gender thing. So I want to go into this post, right, because I had this big old long discussion with this guy who, he was like, you're not getting it. I'm like, no, dude, I don't think you're getting it. Talking about the issues, the social issues that we see happening here in the Western world when it comes to sexuality, and something that I want to continue looking into, because I feel like sexuality and understanding our sexual desires, our sexual wants, and maybe our repressed sexual energy, what does it mean, and how do we utilize it in a way that's powerful? Sex is power, and that, I mean, people say money is, but really it's not. Sex is, and it's why, it's because that is the root of our power, believe it or not. Now, it's been misconstrued, misconstructed, it's been misguided, misunderstood. Okay, so we're looking at this from a perspective of how do we then heal? Good morning, who just got on Facebook. How do we heal that sexual energy in order to use it from a place of power? Well, understanding that is something that most, good morning, God's chosen one. You're dropping in and out on the Podbean. They're like, not really. Good morning, girl boss. How do we use that sexual energy? How do we start to have the dialogue around it? So I'll be honest, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it out loud. This guy put a post, right, who said, promiscuity, whatever, however you say it, is not attractive, ladies. And I was like, okay, let me just dive a little deeper into this. First of all, I just wanted to be honest. And I said, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not saying all women. I'm not saying the entire women in population, but some women don't give a shit what you think. And that's what I put. Now, was I saying it to be an a-hole? Was I saying it to be a jerk? No. Right? I'm saying it because I know. Because why? Because I have dialogues with people. And women are fed up. Some women are just fed up. They don't really give a shit what men have to say. Now, is this right, wrong, good, or bad? I don't know. I'm just telling you what is, okay? Don't kill the messenger. Just listen to the messenger, and maybe we can start to open up the dialogue and heal. And I was trying to get at it, but it's really hard over a text message to go back and forth with an individual. Now, was I trying to change his mind? No. However, I was trying to entice some sort of inquiry for this individual to start looking a little bit deeper, because if you keep it surface level and just state your opinions about something but have no idea how to even start to heal those internal conflictions that you have about the way the world looks, then it doesn't matter. What are you putting your opinions out there for? To feel better? Okay, well, that's okay. If it makes you feel better, fine. But literally, putting opinions out there is not going to change the mindset of an individual. And in fact, putting opinions like that right now, you're going to get backlash from women. I'm just saying. Not in terms of gender, in terms of the fact that the sacred feminine is on fire right now. Okay, and she's speaking through us. And again, not just through women, but men too. Men who are listening to that divine call, who are listening to that sacred feminine energy, who are saying, yes, goddess, I am here to protect and to serve, to support you, and to move you along. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, good, or bad. In fact, I would love for us as a human race, as a human population, to come to wholeness and hold each other in love and compassion. But it's not happening. And why? Because of what historically has happened. Good morning, Tony. With individuals. What has historically happened with women? Okay, now I'm talking gender, and typically not. I'm usually talking the energies of the sacred feminine and masculine. But let me tell you what's happening, right? We women historically have been raped, and then we have sometimes been raped and forced to keep the child that where this happened. Okay. Also, women have been hung. They have been burned. They have been made wrong for having a menstrual cycle, and oh, that's disgusting, right? Some men, oh, that's this, oh, that's that. We have been brutally, right? We have been brutally hurt throughout history. And guess what? The script is flipping now. And now men, and I don't like to talk about gender, but men are having to see the result of that. They're having to see the result of that, and they don't like what they're seeing. Well, guess what? You're the ones who created that shit. You're the ones who wanted to do that. Now, I'm not pointing fingers at one specific, it's just all males. I'm not saying that, right? But the patriarchy, the shadow patriarchy, the broken patriarchy, the toxic patriarchy came in and did that. And what happened is they said, well, we're separate from one another. Oh, so women have roles that they need to play, and so do men. No, we're human. The only role that we should be playing is self-healing and self-love, and learning how to love ourselves. And that way we can love humanity, everybody, not just one person, but no, we want to say, oh no, there's gender roles and women are weak and women need men who are strong because they're not strong enough to go get their own food. And back when we were in the caves, the men were the hunters and the women, this and that and the other. Well, guess what? Back in the day, women knew how to feed themselves too. They didn't necessarily need meat. They could have hunted, they could have gathered berries and stuff. And guess what? There were women who were warriors and out there and in the hunt as well. So it wasn't just a one-sided thing. So here's the deal. And I'm going to be just bluntly honest. And good morning. How are you? I'm going to be bluntly honest and I'm going to say this. Now, this is not on behalf of all women, obviously. But I will say that this is what the sacred feminine is coming through for me. Okay, I'm going to take personal responsibility. Some women agree, some women don't have to. Some men agree, some men don't have to. It doesn't matter. This is the reality. Some women don't give a shit what men think about their sexuality. They don't care. If you want a woman to care about what you think about her sexuality, then maybe we should start looking at all of the shit that was done to women over history and start to ask for forgiveness for that as a society. Start to ask for forgiveness and say, you know what? We didn't honor the sacred feminine. But no, we have toxic patriarchy and men trying to hold on to these old ideologies that just don't work anymore. And guess what? Women don't care. They don't give a shit. Okay? Men are shit and have always been shit towards women. See, and that's the thing, is that there's this internal, there you go. And that's what I'm talking about. We never had the space to say, listen to what we have to tell you. And men not listening, right? Some men will. I'm not saying all men. Trust me, there are some men here that I feel in this world that I wish that they would do workshops for other men to teach them how to heal around this, that honor and revere the women and see them as goddesses and treat them as such. Right? And guess what? Their life is beautiful, because once you recognize the goddess in a woman's love is so big and so powerful and so healing that really you wouldn't want anything else, because that's what the sacred feminine does. She carries love even in her shadow. I love that, because everybody's saying, well, she still loves even in her shadow. I said, you're right. There's still that spark of love in Kali. She's if you looked at what Kali is, right? The bringer of life and death. But in that life and death, she still has love and compassion and empathy, and she'll still be there for you, to love you and nurture you. These goddesses all have that inherent love and hold that, even if they're warriors. See, but if you're not honoring that, and it's, I mean, men are not liking what they're seeing, is what I'm saying. Some men, they're not liking it. They're totally trying to hold on to the old ideas. They don't like it. And what they're doing, and what I see them doing, is they're trying to use the same patterns of shaming women, thinking that we're going to give a shit about what they say. Well, it's awful. I want to care what men have to say. But if men are trying to tell me how I should utilize my body, or what I should be doing, or how I should be doing it, and oh, I'm not worthy of being a wife. I don't want to be a wife. Who the hell said I had to be a wife to be worthy or valuable? That sounds like chains and property. I'm not saying all women feel this way, right? This is very opinionated. I get it. But, and in the esoterics, when we're looking at it from how do we heal from this, right? But being able to have a platform to talk. You don't want to be a wife? No, I do not want to be a wife. I never have. My function and purpose in life was not to be a wife and a child bearer. It was to deliver a message. and the message being spiritual alchemy. How do we utilize the tools that are given to us? We do have this sexual energy and drive. Women have this power, and so do men. Women hold a greater power and sexual energy than men. They do. And understanding what that means, and how to utilize it is what I'm here to teach when it comes to this particular topic. What if you find the right guy who can treat you right? I don't want marriage. To me, that construct doesn't work. To me, that construct, I've yet to, the only systems I see that particular construct of marriage works, are systems that have ingrained it, over decades, and it's breaking down as we speak. But in India, they do arranged marriages, and sometimes you don't even know who you're going to marry. They just kind of throw you into this person, and you guys get to like do it, and they do it as almost like a business transaction in a lot of ways is what it is. And those tend to last. I'm not saying that they're happy together, the people, the individuals. Hopefully they end up with a partner that they love, but most are, for me, I don't know that monogamy exists. And that's again, maybe it does. And you guys can show me something, tell me something different. You can give me information. You guys, again, this is spiritual alchemy is not about Natalie's right and everybody's wrong. No, it's about what information do we have and how do we use that information to support us into transcendence, to support our soul into its soul purpose or divine purpose, so that we're walking this life in wholeness and healing and oneness. How do we bring ourselves back to wholeness is basically it. Now, this can get spun out in billions of topics. Right now, I can tell you that the goddesses are talking to me. I can feel them. I can feel them. I can feel them gnawing at me. And what they're saying is be the voice, right? So speak up. And I'm speaking up on behalf of women. Now, here's the deal. Women have their voice. You guys can use your voice as well. And say, yeah, that's how I believe. No, I don't believe, and that's fine. But we're created to be fruitful and find a good person to live with. Sure, if that is your worldview and that's how you feel, that's a beautiful thing. So for me, so here's another thing I'll tell you. With spiritual alchemy, it's not about convincing one person to think the way the other person thinks. Again, that's not what I'm here to do. Yeah, well, that doesn't happen to all. So here's the thing. Okay, my question to you is, are you looking for somebody and you want to be married and you want to be in a relationship like that? But the creation was to be that way. Okay, so that's my question. If that's how you feel, that's what you want, is anything getting in the way of you? I do, but not a toxic relationship again. Got it. Awesome. So again, this is not about just Natalie. This is about everybody, right? Your worldview is different than my worldview. It's never going to be exactly the same. And the way that you view relationship is going to be different than the way I view relationship. But here's the deal. So toxic relationships have to do with the fact of you not being 100% clear about what it is that you want in a relationship. So maybe you are clear, maybe you're not. If you keep getting into a toxic relationship, you've got to start asking yourself, what is the common theme? Okay, if humans stop being fruitful, the human race would die off. Okay, there's a lot of humans on the planet right now. So yes, you're absolutely right. But at this point, we have so many children and people are still producing, and they don't need to be married to do that. Yeah, we have way too many. So when we're looking at it, and here's the deal, I also do life coaching if you ever want to explore. If you're looking for a relationship and you keep getting the same toxic things over and over and over again, you can email me at spiritandbrew@gmail.com, and we can dig a little bit deeper as to why that continues to show up in your life. And how do we start to foster healthy relationships with people? Well, first you got to know what you want. You've got to understand that. If you don't understand that and you don't know that, you're going to continue to have toxic relationships. Then you have to understand your boundaries. What are you willing to compromise and not willing to compromise? Okay. I have been toxic. Okay, so you've had toxic women and you've been toxic. And that's awesome that you're willing to take personal responsibility for the shit you've done. Because most people don't. They don't take responsibility for the stuff that they do. Okay, one of my best friends has been married 23 years. So somebody says, Andrew, good morning. He had to go to India and interview a woman for marriage, which was set up by his parents and other family. He said his family's belief is to grow to love each other. So far, it's been great marriage. Yeah. So in India, that's the way they do it. And as you know, I lived in India for a year, and that's the question they ask: when are you going to get married? Everybody wants to know about when everybody's getting married, and that's what they do. They do arranged marriages. Now, do I say it's right, wrong, good, or bad? It's actually a business transaction, to be quite honest with you, if you started to really look at it, because there's dowries involved sometimes, which, let's just say, anything in life has a light and a dark. So there's good things about it, and there's some things that are not so good about it, and the result of it. So I don't want to get into all of that with the Indian stuff, because we can eventually. But talking about the sacred feminine and masculine energy, understanding what you want in relationship and getting clear about it, and what your boundaries are. What are you not willing to compromise, right? And so we're looking at it, and because you've had toxic women and you've been toxic, that is why. And what I'm talking about now in terms of the bigger picture of the sacred feminine is that the sacred feminine is fed up. She is. And she doesn't give a shit what men think. That's literally what it is. Now, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, good, or bad. Should we care? Of course we should. I feel like we should. I'm just letting you know that that's what's happening, that there are women out there. All you got to do is turn on the TV. These women don't give a shit. They're going to be half naked on a stripper pole, and they're going to sleep with who they want, and they're going to do this and that and the other. And men are trying to shame them and blame them, and women are saying, I don't care if you shame or blame me at all. Toodles, go away. I don't really care. That's what they're saying. You can give your opinions all day and they're meaningless. So how do we begin to heal? That's the question. And I was on this platform talking to this guy back and forth because he wasn't getting it. He's like, well, you're just not getting it. And I said, no, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm getting that you think there's an issue. And what I'm telling you is no one gives a shit. They're not going to listen to you. Who cares? Why are you putting it out there? If you want to change something, then you got to start changing your internal conflictions. What inside of you needs to be addressed? You have an issue with promiscuous women. You're shaming them, blaming them, making them wrong. That's not going to heal anything. Why not ask questions? Why are you promiscuous? What are you getting out of it? Did you have unhealthy sexual relations when you were young? Were you ever raped or touched in a way that was, those types of things? But no, not wanting to listen, but just point fingers and tell women how they should act or behave. Get the hell out of here. Seriously. And that's just me being raw and real. No. Why don't you have some compassion and love and start asking questions? Really have concern and care to understand. That's what I would do if a man is broken. I wouldn't just sit there and say, you need to behave this way and that way. No, why are you behaving this way and that way? What happened? Let's dig a little bit deeper. Where is the deep healing that comes internally? How do we go deeper into who we are as a person in order to heal, so that when we come to an individual that we want to be with, we're healed and they're healed. And then together we can work in tandem. People don't have those discussions. Instead, they want to point fingers and tell people how they should be. And guess what? I'm going to say it again, men. Women don't give a shit. Not all, but it's happening more and more. Women are fed up. Women are fed up. And they don't really care what you have to say. I'm not saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying if you want women to listen to you, you need to listen to them and you need to ask more questions. Seek to understand before you just throw daggers. And who the hell are people to judge anyway? Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's horrible. I can't believe how much it happens. What is healing? Who defines healed people? You do. You do. Let's just go into this. What is a definition of something? Well, we can define something based on Webster's definition or the etymology of words. So when you're asking about a definition of something from a spiritual alchemic practitioner's mindset, I would then go into the word heal. Okay, for myself. I don't define things for P. You define your life. That's what you guys maybe get or don't get if you've been part of Spirit and Coffee. This is not about Natalie. This is not about she tells you what to do. You guys got to understand who you are and what your life's about. So that's another thing, right? I know this is going all over the place, but I go off of what people ask. So it's kind of another thing, like you, Tony, right? Okay, I'm just going to point you out. My cousin Tony will be like, what do you think about this course or this thing or this or that? And I tell her, I do research before I just jump into something. I don't just jump and listen to anything. I don't go listening to any woo-woo, off the wall, crazy, whatever information without really truly understanding who is the individual, what information are they trying to get out there? Is it misdirection? I mean, I go deep into the subject to understand it. And then if it feels right for me, and it feels like it's aligning with what I believe, then I go deeper into it and say, okay, now is this individual a practitioner of the work or not? See, I dissect it. Are they applying this work to their life? Or are they just talking about it and trying to get people to do whatever they think that they should do, and they themselves don't even apply it to their life? Then no, I'm not going to follow them. Sorry, I've never been one of those people. I was one of those people who went against authority, right? Because why? Because I would see adults telling me to do this thing and then they would do the opposite. And I'm like, who the hell are you to tell me if you're not even doing it? That doesn't even make sense to me. So I really watch that. Now, I'm not saying people are not, are perfect, whatever, but as long as they're trying to apply the practices. Okay, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because who defines healed people? We define what our own healing is. I can't define that for you. I don't know what needs to be healed inside. I don't. I can question and have inquiry and help you get to your understanding of what that will mean for you. But I cannot sit there and dictate that I understand healing. That's bullshit. Anyone who does it. I mean, doctors can say, well, even doctors don't know what they're doing. Well, in the Western world, they don't. Let me tell you that. They don't. Doctors here don't even know what they're doing. You know why? Because I've gone to doctors and they don't know what they're doing. I know more than they do. And they're asking me to send them research papers on things that are wrong with me. They should be doing the research. Why am I? So again, your healing is up to you. That's who defines what the healing is. If you've been in toxic relationships, why have you been in toxic relationships? Part of it's because you were toxic, but why are you toxic? Why were you bringing that toxic energy to relationships? What had you bringing that toxic energy to relationships? Those are the deeper questions you get to ask yourself, right? So in asking those questions, COVID proves they don't know shit. That's funny. I'm not going to get into the whole COVID thing. Natalie, don't talk COVID. That doesn't exist in her language or her worldview. So therefore it's not. But when we're talking about, this healing, what does healing mean for you? Well, I'm going to tell you what it means right now from my perspective. This is a perspective from the sacred feminine and sacred masculine. The sacred feminine she's been drowned out. And right now she's on fire. And she's telling people, I don't care what you think. Get out of my way. Listen or get out of my way, basically. And And I want to heal, and I want to have these dialogues with these men, and I want them to be open to understand. Some won't. Some will, they're just going to want it to go back to the old way, and it's not going to be the old way. The old way is no more. Well, it has to be. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you think that, and I'm glad that you have these values and morals and you think that life should look this way, but it doesn't look that way. What are you doing to help heal it is my question. What are you doing to contribute to solutions, to healing the issue? Or are you just going to be opinionated in it and sit there moping and groping that it should look this way when it doesn't? You can. That's a choice. You can sit there and say, well, I think women should be this way. Well, they're not. I think women shouldn't be promiscuous. Well, they are. And what? What are you going to do? You're just going to keep voicing your opinion and hope that women care what you say? That's not going to happen. Anyway, I was trying to tell him that. Not to be mean, not to be an asshole, and not to say that it doesn't matter what he has to say, but women don't care. That's what I'm telling him. Like, if you want people to care, you want people to understand, then ask questions, have inquiry, show them kindness again. Ask these women, because we saw it as children. We didn't know anything else. As an adult, we have to break this cycle. Yes. And we do, and hopefully we are. So it's a show, let's see, it shows a lot of people don't care. That's the problem. Yeah, I have narcissist tendency. Oh, okay, wow. Narcissists usually don't admit they're narcissists. Okay, very cool. That's kind of good. There's hope for humanity when a narcissist, it's awesome when a narcissist can call themselves a narcissist, because let me tell you what, narcissists, so I've looked into narcissism. I wanted to understand it, because typically narcissists will never admit they're a narcissist. But if you feel like you're a narcissist and you're admitting that you're a narcissist, that's good. That's part of healing, is accepting. Do I think that sociopaths, psychopaths, and narcissists can heal? Yes. Yes. They have just as equal right to heal from that as anybody. Narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths don't honor the sacred feminine. Okay, they don't. They can't understand it because they can't process emotion. Emotion is part of the sacred feminine. When you understand emotion and you understand how to tap into that internally, but those individuals typically don't understand how to feel it, or they have this sort of false sense of what it is, so they don't care. They don't have a conscious. It's like whatever. They can only mask those feelings. Okay. It's the way we're raised. I have a lot of emotions. Good. So you repressed emotion, and now you're having to deal with emotion, which is good. That's part of healing. Yeah, when you lose a wife and child. Okay. So there you go. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for engaging and trusting us here to tell us about your life, right? You know, it is a difficult thing if you're losing, you know, your children, your wife, and you're waking up. But you having narcissistic tendencies, I would highly recommend going to see a therapist. Not in like, oh, you're crazy, you need to see a therapist, but in order to help you sort of dig deeper into understanding how to engage with that behavior and to heal from that behavior, right? How do we begin to heal? Well, part of it, your healing sounds like tapping into those emotional states of being. The toxicity went above and beyond. The kids didn't need to see that anymore. Good. Well, you recognize the toxicity. Now what? Now what? Okay. We can remain in the past, or we can start to look at what we're going to do to transcend. Okay. So you read a lot. Good. Good. So why don't you read about what it means to be a toxic sacred masculine or broken sacred masculine? if you're looking to spiritual alchemy, because this platform is spiritual alchemy, right? It's nearly impossible. Very few people. Okay, let's just put it. It's like a novelty. It's like people. There's not going to be trillions of people in a spiritual alchemy podcast and stay here. It's very hard to do that. After a while, some people get lost. Some people are like, okay, I'm over this. They want to engage in, social media fast things. It's not easy to engage in the spiritual alchemic process because guess what? It is a lot. It is. That's why people are like, I'm sorry I haven't been on. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's not for everybody. It's for the select few that are willing to go. And that's not a lot of people. Trust me. We're seeing more spiritual alchemists starting to rise, but the field of spiritual alchemy was historically, it was suppressed and it was actually done in secrecy because people who have the process of spiritual alchemy start to remember their power and they don't want us to. If I had billions of followers teaching them truly the process of spiritual alchemy, I would either be in trouble or they would try to control me or whatever it is. And we can look in historically these individuals who were spiritual alchemists, and people don't even know this, right? But if we looked at Leonardo da Vinci, he was a spiritual alchemist. If we looked at Plato, Aristotle, all these people we label historically as geniuses or whatever, they were spiritual alchemists. They knew how to use the process of spiritual alchemy. And they had to hide it. They had to go and hide it because if it would have got out, they would have been killed. And some people did get killed. Now we're looking at Aleister Crowley, right? Israel Regardie. They used these spiritual alchemist individuals who were really deep in the arts to inform them. Tesla, yes, he was killed. Tesla was a spiritual alchemist. Carl Jung. All of these individuals, okay, were alchemists. That's what they did. But they were not they were not able to discuss or talk about it. And if they did, and they brought their alchemy to life and it worked in a way that was going to maybe heal the world or support the world in this way and give rise to power and people recognize their power, they're like, nah, cut off. You're done. But as a spiritual alchemist, and a practitioner of the work, I'm teaching people to start to remember that they are powerful, that internally they have the power. It's not external. See, it's not an external thing. That's what I'm trying to say. This internal power, when we learn how to harness it and utilize it for the greater good of humanity, we start to remember who we are and our power, right? All of a sudden we're a threat. No, let's just keep people dumb. That's really what they want. And that's the truth. They do. They program people to be the way that they think they should be for their own agendas. And by they, I mean government or whatever you want to call it. Okay. And sex, because I've been talking about sexual, and this kind of went a little in a different direction, but that's fine. The sexual piece of it is our power. Our power does come from the Dantian, which is what we call it in Kung Fu, that root chakra, where the power is synergizes. And when we learn how to use that energy to harness it and remember who we are, I mean, we are powerful. We are so powerful, we don't even realize it. You don't even realize how powerful you are. I don't think, and I wish that more people were on here listening to this. I wish that the world can hear this. That's what that is my wish, that these people can hear that they are powerful, that they have everything that they need inside of them. that they can heal, that that's a possibility to remember their oneness inside of them. Praise Lord, please pray for my ministry. Send me your WhatsApp number. Oh, Jesus had all the chakras aligned. Yeah, that's why he was our healer. Yeah. Ma'am, okay. You're talking about Never Alchemist? Never Alchemist? What's Never Alchemist? I don't know what that is. Yes, the healers, and Jesus Christ wasn't the only healer in the world. And today there are healers that are not, we're going to say, well, Jesus Christ was he's not our only healer. There's still healers out in this world doing the great work and healing. And guess what they're healing? They're not healing other people. They're healing themselves. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We get to heal ourselves. Even Jesus said that, right? We have the answers. Look internally. Every healer, every transcended person will tell you the answers are within. They're not without. Stop looking outside. Stop trying. That's with this whole sexual thing and women this and women that. Yeah, keep pointing fingers and looking outside and see where that gets you. I hate to say it. I'm going to just say it very bluntly. You're going to go to your deathbed pointing fingers. There's not going to be any change in the world. The way we change the world is by changing ourselves internally. It's an internal thing. I can and have been healing once I got out of the toxic environment. We can't stay in a place that makes us sick physically, mentally. That's exactly right. You've got to take care of you. Women turn because men hurt them. Yeah. That's what we're seeing today. Women are really, okay, I'll tell you what we're seeing today. We're seeing the mirror reflection. Men are seeing their reflection. They don't like it. They don't like what they're seeing. But it's them. That's what they don't realize. If we looked at it from that perspective, they're looking at the mirror image of themselves and they don't like it. And some men can't look at it. They're repulsed by it. Oh, that promiscuous woman, I can't even look at her. Well, guess what? You were promiscuous. You're promiscuous. You're just seeing yourself and now you can't even look at it? What? Look at yourself in the damn mirror. It's you. You're looking at yourself. That's what you're seeing. And yeah, they might be worse. And you know why? Because that's the sacred feminine. The shadow side. But she's loving, right? And some men just don't like it. They don't like it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to look at it. They're repulsed by it. And they're repulsed by themselves. That's really what they're repulsed by. Not the women themselves. They can't look at themselves in the mirror and take personal responsibility that this is what was created. When you were engaging, when men were saying, oh, I can't help it. How can I can't help that I'm horny. I can't help all this. What do you mean you can't help it? That's a cop out, first of all. You can't help it. Okay, sure. No, you don't get it. We're just more sexual. No, you're not. Lie. That's a lie. We just have higher sex drive. We're just more horny. Lie. No, you want to believe that. That's the lie you want to believe. And in that belief that you believed, that lie, you went out and you used it as a way, or they did, or whatever, not you specifically, but men in generally, right? Not all, went out and used this as an escape. Well, I just couldn't help it. And you know how men are. And it's okay if they're, go bro, yay bro, you're sleeping with her and him, and yeah bro, yeah, but girls are bitches and whores and and all these names and everything, and the rap music and everything. So we look at all of that and it's like, oh, okay, so we're whores, huh? We like to sleep around like you do, and now we're whores and you're good. Okay, that's cool. Check this out. And the whole dialogue has switched. Now women are saying, yeah, we hoes and bye-bye. I pay my own bills. Get out of my house. I mean, you hear it. I've seen it all over the place. This is not me. I'm not saying it's me. I'm telling you what I see. When we're like, okay, this is just a one night thing. Get out of here. I don't want to be part of your life. I'm not trying to marry you. Get away. I don't need marriage. I don't need all this. I don't need that. This is a result of men, what they did. And now women are exactly like they are, and men can't handle it. Some men, not all men, can't handle it. They don't like it. They don't like seeing it. Well, guess what? It's you. So you don't like yourself? Or, oh, it's okay for you, but it's not okay for them. Get out of here. You're just seeing your reflection. That's what's happening. They're seeing their reflection and they don't like it. They're repulsed. Well, guess what? You repulsed yourself because you did it to yourself. Not all men. I'm not saying all men, right? But that's the storyline, and it's comical in a lot of ways. Men are shit, but I personally do not cheat. Well, that's society manipulate. It is. And but that's the storyline, right? And we see it playing out, and it's crazy. And yeah, you're right. Women might be worse than men right now. Women might be, but I'm going to tell you right now, I can tell you from, I'm not saying all women, but I can tell you from the people I know and from listening in society and just observing, I can tell you right now, there are women who don't care what men say. They don't care. And it's happening more and more and more and more and more. And if we don't start to heal ourselves internally, and we don't start to listen to why women are behaving this way, and men don't listen up to why women have become what they can't repulse or can't look at, we will never heal. We've got to listen. That's it. Simple. Anywho, all right, I just went on a rampage, and I was going to probably continue going on a rampage because I have a lot of fire energy in me, and this kind of went all over the place, which is fine. I don't care. That spirit and coffee alchemy goes in different directions sometimes. The plant is falling apart. Of course it's falling apart. Can't control it. These people that are in government, which means mind control, right? Trying to control agendas and control the people. And guess what? They don't calculate the trickster. They can't calculate the trickster. But if you look at the hero's journey, I'm going to say this one last time. The hero's journey, and in the hero's journey and how it gets played out, even here in the world, is there's always the trickster. The trickster energy, it can never be calculated because you don't know how it's going to show up. The trickster changes the dialogue. It means that your one plan that you're always trying to do or what you're trying to control will never happen because the trickster shows up and changes the entire dialogue, flips it on its head. Okay. A good way to look at it is Donald Trump. He was a trickster. He flipped the dialogue. I mean, he got everybody stirred up, and he still does today. So Donald Trump is a character of the trickster. Okay. Biden, not so much the trickster. Go back and start reading about what the trickster is really. It's kind of a hard energy to describe. It's like the coyote, right? The coyote is the trickster, or it's like the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter was the trickster in Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, that's different. I'm not talking about what they're doing with all the children and stuff like that. I'm talking about the trickster. The trickster comes in and changes the dialogue. Nobody's calculating for that, right? Nobody could have calculated what the hell Trump was going to do. He just did whatever he thought he wanted to do. That's the trickster. He just doing random shit, and people are like, "What the hell is he talking? What's going on?" He's doing all this crazy. And nobody calculated for that. They didn't know what he was going to be doing, and he flipped everybody on their head, and people were like, "What is going on?" That's the trickster energy. We can never calculate for it. We don't know how to calculate for it. We can't. So the real trickster is Satan. Could be. There's a lot of trickster energy out there. So look at that. And right now we're seeing it play out. Pretty crazy, right? Hero's journey is pretty crazy, and that's what we're on. So anyway, you guys are powerful. Thank you so much for engaging in the conversation. But I want to continue this sexual energy talk. because I feel like it's so important. I just want to keep ranting and raving. I can feel that fire energy in me. But again, you guys figure out what your healing means. What does it mean for you to heal yourself? Do that deep, deep, deep dive. I don't have the answers to what your healing is, but I can help you on the journey to discover what it might be for you and where you need to heal and all that good stuff, okay? So I love you guys. Have a fantastical day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bless you as well. Bye-bye.